What is up, guys? It's a Fluffy Angel here. Welcome to the channel. Just a little bit about this channel. I want to primarily focus on otaku related things such as anime, manga, but I also plan on making other videos as well from some of my other interests such as gaming videos, comic books, graphic novels, all other sorts of good stuff. So I'm hoping you guys will stick around for the journey. But in today's video, I wanted to primarily focus on my manga pickups for the month of July 2020. This was a big month for me personally, as I was starting to get back into the hobby of collecting manga. And on top of that, Right Stuff is a website where I get a lot of my manga from, and they were actually having their annual birthday sale. They were celebrating their 33rd birthday this year, and with that, they put a bunch of amazing bundles and deals out on manga that I knew I had to take advantage of. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into my pickups for this month. My first pickup was I Am the Hero Omnibus number 1. I Am a Hero is a manga about this guy here. He's a mangaka, and you know, he doesn't have the most interesting life, and then the zombie apocalypse happens, and now it's his chance to really, as the title states, become a hero. I've been looking forward to getting the series for a very long time, ever since it came out years ago. But now that I read online somewhere that it's actually going out of print, so I figured now is the best time as ever to kind of get into the series, because Dark Horse is notorious for letting their series go out of print, and once it's out of print, it's really out of print. So I managed to snag this off of Amazon for I think $5 or $6, and for not only a piece of volume at that price, but an omnibus, I couldn't pass it up. So I'm really looking forward to reading this and giving my first impressions on it. Next up is My Hero Academia Volume 4. If you haven't heard about the series already, it's basically about a group of high schoolers who have superpowers, and they go around and fight villains. But the main allure of it is the main character, Deku, doesn't originally have any powers, but he is given. Basically, there's a ranking of superheroes, and the number one hero passes on his power onto Deku, and it's basically a story about their challenges they faced as not only a class, but, you know, individually. It's a very great shonen, and I actually have had a lot of the manga for a very long time, but after watching the first season, I wanted to pick up what happened after, just so I can get ahead story-wise, and I actually never got around to picking up the first, I think it was like the first 3 or 4 volumes. So I saw this for a really good price on Amazon. I think it was like $4 with shipping, so I went and snagged that as soon as I could, and now I have it all filled up. Next up, another great series is One Punch Man. This is volume 17. In case you don't know about this as well, basically as this title states, Saitama, he is the One Punch Man. He can defeat any monster, any alien in one punch. But the main kind of allure of the series is there's a lot of focus on the side characters and their own journeys and challenges throughout the story. It's an amazing series. If you haven't read it already, check it out. The first season is also really good. Don't recommend the second season all too much. In terms of animation quality, it definitely dropped, and it didn't really deliver as much as I wanted it to be. But regardless to say, the manga is fantastic. I believe there's currently 20 volumes out. The 20th volume actually just released a couple days ago at the time of this recording, and I definitely need to pick up the slack and collect the rest of these. But volume 17 of One Punch Man. Next up is a newer series I've been interested in collecting for a while, and that is Jujutsu Kaisen. I don't know much about this in terms of story. I do know it's kind of like a supernatural manga with a bunch of, you know, demon fighting. But I remember when the series first came out, it gained a lot of attention within the manga community as a pretty interesting shonen, so I definitely want to sink my teeth into this sooner rather than later. You know, manga is definitely an important medium in terms of illustration, as you know, a lot of the panels, you know, it's obviously important to have, you know, really well drawn characters and have a well drawn, you know, kind of universe. And just judging from some of the artwork I've looked inside, as well as some of the covers, this definitely looks like it's going to be one of those series that is well drawn as well. So like I said, I definitely look forward to sinking my teeth in this and giving my first impressions on it. Next up is a series I've been looking forward to collecting the rest of, and that is Dr. Stone. I actually picked up the first 6 last year during Right Stuff's annual sale as well. But just at the time, just due to school and all the obligations I had in my life, I actually never got around to collecting the rest. I did have the intention to pick them up as they were coming out, but I just never got around to it. But needless to say, I did see a really good deal for these. This is volume 7. And basically the premise of this story is that all of humanity is turning to stone, but over time, people got released from these stone statues and basically tried to rebuild civilization. The main character here, he's very much focused on science and bringing humanity up to speed, while there is another faction of humans that basically reverted back to the hunter-gatherer way of life. And it's basically a manga about the two groups fighting amongst each other to see who can dominate the other. It's really fun. I watched the anime last year, but I actually never got around to finish it. And I definitely do plan on finishing it before the second season airs this winter. Next up is a series that is pretty familiar with everyone within the community, and that is Demon Slayer. I fell in love with the anime last year. I couldn't get enough of it, and I definitely knew I wanted to pick up the manga at some point. I never got around to it, but this year Right Stuff had an amazing bundle deal with the first 13 volumes, so I definitely knew that's something I wanted to pick up from the sale. The basic premise of the story is Tanjiro, the main character, has an unfortunate incident with his family, and as a result, his sister gets turned into a demon. And basically, the story follows him joining the Demon Slayer Corps, fighting demons, and ultimately trying to get his sister back into her human form. If you haven't done so already, I would definitely recommend watching the manga. It is a really entertaining show in terms of, story as it's adapted from this. The animation is absolutely stunning. UFO Table did a fantastic job with that. Where they got that budget from, I have no idea, but I did hear that they ran into tax fraud problems, so that could be it. But needless to say, the manga itself is amazing. I know that the movie's coming out at the end of the year as well, and I'm really looking forward to that and getting the opportunity to watch that. The manga itself is really great. I mean, the author does a fantastic job at conveying the story, the characters. At a certain point, there are these demon slayers that are really high ranked that are introduced, and they are just awesome. It kind of shifts a little bit, obviously, to, Tanjiro is still the main character, but the way that he works with these high-ranking demon slayers to really defeat these OP demons is very entertaining to read, and every chapter has kept me on the edge of my seat. Volume 13. So definitely a recommendation for me, highly recommendation. If you haven't done so already, go pick it up. And this is volume 14. I actually got this from a local shop similar to Dr. Stone, where they had this for about $6 for a brand new volume of manga, so I knew I had to pick it up. But yeah, that's all I have at the moment. I believe 15 just came out a few days ago at the time of this recording, so I need to pick up the pace and pick that up as soon as I can. Next series I collected this month was Blue Exorcist. This has been a series I've actually had for a very long time in my collection, at least volumes 2 through 7, and I just never got around to collecting the first one. I've been interested in reading this ever since I started collecting manga a couple years ago, and now I'm finally glad to have gotten the chance to it. It was just basically laziness, but now I have no excuse. I can actually start reading it, and I got this for, I think, for $3 or $4, so, that for a basic basically brand new volume of manga. Can't beat that as well. The next series I picked up this month was 20th Century Boys by Naoki Urasawa. This has been a series I have been waiting to get for a very long time, ever since I actually first started collecting a couple years ago, and that is because I picked up another one of his works, Monster, and I absolutely fell in love with the story. Naoki Urasawa does a fantastic job, not only in his illustrations. He has a very distinct art style, but the way that he crafts and formulates his stories, I have no complaints with, trust me. 20th Century Boys is still a thriller mystery, but it has a kind of a sci-fi setting. So I definitely look forward to sinking my teeth into this and really giving it a read. I also really like these deluxe editions. As you can see, I'm kind of playing around here in the light. It has like this embossed lettering, both the front and then some of the back is embossed as well. Viz did a really good job with these releases, I think, even better than the perfect editions for Monster. And I believe there are currently 8 of these editions out in English. The 9th will be coming out soon. And altogether, this series should be collected in 11 of these. So I'm almost done collecting them. I'm hoping that I can still keep up with the releases. But fingers crossed, because this, like I said, this is definitely a story I want to finish sooner rather than later. So I'm hoping I don't have to wait too long. I did want to collect the single volumes when I first started collecting, but as soon as I heard that they were getting re-released and kind of a perfect edition similar to Monster, I wanted to wait out and kind of collect these. Here is volume 8. And from what I've read so far, I'm really enjoying where the story is going. And knowing how Naoki Urasawa kind of constructs the story, I definitely will be keeping my eye out for stuff that happens early on in the story, just in case stuff comes back. And here's volume 8. This is all that is out in English at the moment. Next up is a series that I've been wanting to kind of collect for a while. I read the first couple of chapters and it engaged me, but I heard that it didn't quite live up to the hype. But I still want to formulate my own opinion, and that series is Gleipnir. It's very ecchi, it's very, gory, but I heard it kind of leans too much into that. I know the anime came out either last season or the season before that, and I definitely want to give it a watch as well, but I want to give this another chance and see if it really is garbage or it's something I might still collect. Next up is a series I have heard good things about, and it actually concluded, so if I do enjoy it, you'll probably be seeing more of it in my future pickups, and that is Sweetness and Lightning. I figured I'd want to get more of a lighthearted, fun series just due to what's going on in the world right now, and I have always kind of kept my eye out for this, and, this seems like a good time as ever to pick these up. The story basically follows this dad who needs to really take care of his daughter now that his wife passed, and he has to learn how to cook. So it's a cooking manga. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Food Wars, not that it's that similar other than food, but nonetheless, I'm still excited to read it and give it my own opinion. And here is volume 3. And finally, for this month, in terms of manga, I've been waiting to also get the series for a while, as I have volumes 1 and 7, but I actually never got in between. And that series is Prison School. Here is volume 2. I really enjoy the anime, despite all its etchiness and immature humor. I have a soft spot for that, and it's just genuinely funny. I haven't laughed that hard in anime other than Grand Blue Dreaming, which is a similar type of story in terms of its immature humor and etchiness. But I've always wanted to give the manga a shot. I believe there are 14 of these 2-in-1s by Yen Press. So I have half of the series, so I'm going to give it a read and see if I really want to continue to collect this. I heard the ending is kind of disappointing, but nonetheless, I still want to give it a shot. And finally, for my final pickup for this month, it's not necessarily manga, so I'll give it a little cheat on this video, but it is Naruto Itachi Story Daylight. This is the first light novel of Itachi's story. I believe it was adapted in the anime. I actually never watched it, those episodes. But Naruto was the first series I actually started collecting in terms of manga, and the first anime I really sat down and watched. So I definitely want to give this a read and find out more about Itachi. And here is some nice artwork. And yeah. So that is it, folks. That is my manga haul for the month of July 2020. Like I said, it was a big one, primarily due to the fact that Right Stuff was having their sale, and I also was kind of just keeping my eye out for deals as I was trying to get back into the hobby. If you folks enjoyed the video and want to continue seeing more, please feel free to subscribe, feel free to like, comment down below if you have any sort of videos you want to see from me, any series you want to see me talk about, whether it's one of these or ones that I may have out on my shelf. Again, thank you so much for taking the time watching the video. Please like and subscribe, and have a good day.